Let's talk about the positive ripple effects of a homegrown teenage goalkeeping sensation in Gaga Slonina going from the Chicago Fire and then to Chelsea, which is pretty significant. Now he's going to stay with the Chicago Fire for the rest of the season and join Chelsea on January 1st, 2023. But this is a big move, and obviously it's looking forward for Chelsea as they look for a long-term backup for Edouard Mendy, who arguably is the best goalkeeper in the world. Kepa looks like he's going to be on the move looking for a loan right now. But Heath, I'll come to you first. Gaga Slonina, he could have gone to a couple clubs. I guess Real Madrid was interested as well, but he ends up settling on Chelsea. Pretty big deal.
Yeah, it's a big deal, but I worry about, again.
He came in early with the butt, Charlie. He came in real early with the butt.
Yeah, it should be a butt. How many Chelsea players outside of Christian Pulisic, who got bought for a lot, have done anything at Chelsea? They're notorious for their loan system. Now, if he gets loaned to the right clubs along the way and he gets the minutes that we need for him to develop, great. I like that they're buying him on potential. But the things that Charlie mentioned in his analysis of Slonina, I don't know, a month or two ago about his feet and some of the things that need work aren't going to happen just in training. They need to be around games. So if he's going to find himself there and buried in a lineup or going out on loan in unstable situations, might be good for him, but also might be to the detriment of his development. That's my current take on it. But the fact that it's happening and there's that interest, I'm really excited about that. And it's a validator to, again, the quality of player. And been a while when you think about Sean Johnson and Bill Hamid and that window of players since we saw a young goalkeeper go to Europe and you know, who was the last one? Brad Kazan, maybe, outside of what we're seeing now with Matt Turner and Zach Steffen. I guess Zach Steffen would have been the one. But you know, we've been known for our famous goalkeepers is what sort of put soccer on the map for us in the U.S. And to see another one at a young age going abroad, or at least signing with a team abroad, is pretty cool.
I liked you ended on a positive because your negative energy was bringing me down, Heath. Charlie, what are you saying about Gaga Slonina? And I agree with Heath that there's a lot to do. Yes, this is a good thing, and it sounds nice. And we saw it with Eric Palmer-Brown when he left Kansas City to go to Manchester City, but has actually never played for Man City. Only met Pep Guardiola once when we had him on the show. That's what he told us, which I found to be pretty phenomenal, and he's been on loan ever since. Gaga Slonina must have something in place or some type of verbal agreement or something on paper that says, hey, you come to us, you're going to stay with us, we're going to help develop you. But we all know that getting games is the most important thing, especially for young goalkeepers.
Yeah, I think for Gaga Slonina, the most important thing is development by playing. He needs to be playing matches. Now, I think what's great about Chelsea is you can go to get proper coaching. I mean, not that he's not getting proper coaching with Aiden Brown, who is an incredible goalkeeper. But I think when you're talking about a young player who he's motivated, he's wise, well beyond his years. I mean, he's got like a drive about him. He's very smart. He's trying to do everything in his power to make sure that he reaches his full potential. So to stay humble and just continue to work, I think if he goes and gets some coaching, then goes back on loan, that's what's going to be important for him, is just continuing to play at the highest level, playing with first teams and not with reserve sides. And so I think from a shot stopping perspective, he is incredible, but has to learn to play with his feet, has to learn a little bit more with the nuances. We're always learning, but it's exciting.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you and put you back on the spot here, on the hot seat here, Charlie, to be a master prognosticator. Look into your crystal ball. And do you think that Gaga Slonina will be our number one in 2026? Do you think that he's going to grow that rapidly? Very similar to Donnarumma with Italy, who was a young goalkeeper that ended up being the best player of the tournament in the Euros last summer for the Italians, even though they couldn't qualify for the last two World Cups. I mean, what do you say about his potential? And do you think his potential is going to be big enough and he's going to reach that potential and overshadow some of our other guys that are solid, including Matt Turner, who we like to hope will get some valuable minutes with Arsenal over the next few seasons?
I mean, Matt Turner would be 32. So you're coming into your prime. Zach Steffen, same thing, 32, 33. So not that I would say no chance that he could be the one, but it's going to be difficult. Whoever is the one in 2026, you can believe that they are the consistent one at their club and they're playing regularly, and there's a lot of talent at that position for the U.S. So it'll be very difficult for Slonina to be playing as the one, considering he still probably have to work his way up. Mendy's a pretty young keeper. I don't see him going away.
He's 30, so that's
yeah.
right.
So I think
I'm just throwing it out there. I wanted to give people some context as to how talented he is, but how much work there still is yet to be done, and what that means, even if he does start to emerge as like this incredible world-class talent, which obviously there's identification of that.
I mean, I will say 4 years is a long time. If we have one of those three that doesn't play for the next 3 years, they're not going to be in the national team pool anymore. That's what I truly think 3 years from now. Matt Turner doesn't play for 3 years at Arsenal. Still an incredible story of his, but not going to be in the national team anymore. I think we're going to have more options in 3 years than we have now. And there's going to be more competition naturally in the national team that I don't think a window of time like that for a player going into the prime of their career will be valid. Same with Zach Steffen. If he ends up, going somewhere and not playing for 3 seasons, it's going to be hard to justify that. But if you, I fully agree that keepers are different. But if you were to add all that time together and say, well, you got 1-2 starting years out of the last 6 or 7, I don't know if that's starting goalkeeper in the 2026 World Cup.
No, 100%. But what I'm saying is, Ethan Horvath is 27, and he got the start and a clean sheet in his first championship match against Birmingham and a 0-0 shutout. Zach Steffen playing at Middlesbrough. Matt Turner, 28, playing I contracted to Arsenal, not playing. And then Slonina. I think of those 3, at least one of them will be a consistent starter at a top club, a respected club. So, I mean, it's there for the taking if Gaga Slonina can somehow go over to Europe and start playing for a top club. Maybe it's on loan for a few years outside of MLS in Europe. Then sure, but I still feel very confident that we'll have a top keeper in 2026.
I just want to say, let me ask you this real quick, Jimmy. I have a question for you. For our goalkeeper pool, right? This is an interesting sort of dynamic of what's the right club for a goalkeeper. Far different than me as a left back, Charlie as a striker, Jimmy as you as a center back. Of where do you go? Because a lot of it's the training environment, which you get whether you're playing or not, and then it's the matches, right? So you go to Salzburg, for example, if you're a goalkeeper, very different than Brendan Aronson, who's going to have the ball all the time, get the touches you want. Goalkeeper's probably not going to get as much love, right? Or much time in and around making saves and being involved. But like, what is that balance, at least Jimmy, in your take or Charlie, of the right situation for a goalkeeper where they're getting challenged and tested in games, but they're not just going to a big club that's dominating and never getting, or maybe that is the thing of making those 2 big saves a game that you have to if you're playing at a Celtic or a Rangers in Scotland on a loan deal.
Well, I think given where the U.S. men's national team is right now, where we're probably middle of the pack in terms of what we're capable of. We obviously can hang with the big teams and go against the biggest players, but also at times we struggle to break down a low block against El Salvador, right? So we're going to have times where we don't have a lot of the ball. We're going to have times where we do have a lot of it and we don't know how to break them down. And having a goalkeeper that's switched on to make that 1 or 2 big save, that timely save, I think is important. And I think there's room to have those experiences as a goalkeeper, but to have that for 38 games, probably not as great. I mean, I think you want to have that middle ground where you are kind of under the gun at times and you are having to manage the chaos. You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And I think a goalkeeper that can manage their box, good coming off of their line, killing attacks by either putting guys in good spots or by, with their feet or whatever is being expected out of them from how they play and what their coach wants. Is all important. So games are going to be right? Training most of the time, and we've been in enough trainings. Yes, at least for the trainings I was at, 11v11 doesn't happen very often. Maybe once a week. It's a lot of 7v7, 5v5, 8v8. It's just a complete shooting storm where it's more for the attackers than maybe it is for the goalkeepers. But I do like where Zach Steffen went with Middlesbrough. They were 1 point away from finishing in the top 6 in the championship last year. They're adding some pieces, him included, that will maybe kick them on to play some really meaningful games and get into that championship playoff so they can get promoted into the Premier League next season. I want that for him. I want him to live through that and have that type of pressure and responsibility that I don't think he's had for quite some time with Manchester City, despite his one-off games with the FA Cup from time to time. So I think he's in a nice spot. Luton Town, where Ethan Horvath went on loan from Nottingham Forest. I don't know if they're going to be as competitive, but I think with a 0-0 clean sheet against Birmingham this past weekend, as Charlie mentioned, that's a good first start. First game, first clean sheet, and now he's going to really hopefully immerse himself into the rest of the team and that back line in particular. So I'm kind of leaning more towards what Zach Steffen is doing, but I don't know if I would want to go to a Salzburg that completely dominates every single game.